This conference will now be recorded.
Reading that Emily did, will that come at the end?
That would be, yes, that would be at the end.
Okay, very good. I would entertain a motion to pass proposed local law number 1.
Move.
Second.
All in favor, any discussion?
Have we really finished the discussion on the 2-for-1 and the corridors?
I believe we have.
I think we did for this year until we can find that out before Steve. What have you.
Do you want to?
No, I mean, I think everyone knows my stance. I don't think there should be any regulation on that. Those corridors, commercial spaces, but that's a big limitation.
It's also a big potential to lose apartment buildings that are currently long-term and short-term.
And we can disagree on that.
Well, but it could happen.
A lot more work goes into having an STR as it does a long-term rental. We got a ton of work done to these buildings that you're talking about.
I think at this point, I'm still ready to see how it goes for a year and revisit it. I'll leave that to the rest of the board.
The rest of the law is great though. I think.
Yeah, I think they've done a great job. And I can say this kind of coming in towards the end of the process that, I think there's a lot of difficult things to balance. And I think that the law as it stands, does a good job of trying to weigh all that up.
Okay, are we ready to vote at this point? All in favor? Aye. All opposed?
Aye.
Okay. Is this the point where we need you to memorize it?
Should I go ahead and read that, Jen?
Sure.
Whereas the Lake Placid Village Board wishes to consider the adoption of local law number 1 of 2023 to amend the Village of Lake Placid Town of North Elba Land Use Code as related to the regulation of short-term rentals pursuant to New York Municipal Home Rule Law and Town Law, which authorize the town, this part might need to be changed, Janet, the village to adopt regulatory provisions that advance and protect the health, safety, and welfare of the community. And whereas the village board has determined that adoption of this local law would best enhance and protect the health, safety, and welfare of the residents and community of the village of Lake Placid. And whereas the Town of North Elba Board, as lead agency,
Can't read my stretch.
no, I can read it, I just, oh, this goes in here, right?
Yes. Where's the proposed local law?
Is a type 1 action under 6.
And New York Code Rules and Regulations, section 617.5. And the Town of North Elba Board, as lead agency, undertook review pursuant to the state.
Okay, thank you. The State Environmental Quality Review Act and adopted a secret negative declaration. And whereas the proposed local law was forwarded to the Essex County Planning Board for its recommendations pursuant to General Municipal Law, section 239M, and the County Planning Board indicated there were no community-wide impacts. And whereas the village board duly held public hearings on the proposed local law on, we'll insert the dates, and heard all interested persons. Now therefore, it is hereby resolved as follows. The village board hereby adopts local law number 1 of 2023 in the form attached here to. The board hereby authorizes and directs the village clerk to file the local law with the New York Secretary of State in accordance with the provisions of the Municipal Home Rule Law and acknowledges that the local law will take effect immediately upon filing by the Secretary of State. That upon local law number 1 of 2023 becoming effective, the moratorium on new short-term rentals in the village of Lake Placid as established by village local law number 6 of 2022 as extended by subsequent local laws shall terminate. Duly adopted this 3rd day of January 2023.
So that's a resolution that should be moved, seconded, and voted on.
When will the moratorium be terminated?
On the filing.
On the filing on the 9th.
On the filing of this local law with the Secretary of State.
Became
So
close.
we don't have to vote on that again? It's already done?
Correct.
Became close 3 days. We almost didn't need the extension. A motion to.
So moved.
What she said. Any questions? All in favor?
Aye.
Anyone opposed? Okay. I would just,
You should be consistent.
The resolution's fine.
Okay, all right.
and the moratorium ending is fine. I would, just on our part, as Derek said, it has gone a long, long time. I thank the board for all the long meetings. We did put in a lot of meetings this summer, and to Jackie. I mean, you are guiding, you were, I mean, you did a lot of the rewrites, and Janet, all the help you gave Jackie, but thanks to everybody. It was not easy. I could say it's probably the second hardest thing I've done on the village board. And I do look forward to review this in the near future. October will come very quick, but we'll see. Okay, unless there's something else, we will move on to item C. Standard medical service agreements. That's something we've had for many years. That's the random drug testing we do for the village.
And also pre-employment testing.
Pre-employment testing. Have a motion to have the agreement.
I'll make the motion.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Anyone opposed? Item D is Adirondack Park Local Government Review Board Agreement. We've been in that for a number of years. That is $300 we paid for them to act on our park. Do I have a motion to enter that agreement?
I'll make the motion.
Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Anyone opposed? Passes as well. The review board appointment. I believe that is Sarah Jordan.
Boring.
Doran? Do I have a motion to accept her? I don't know the number of people.
Yes, Mike didn't specify it.
I'm guessing. but I
It's
don't
4.
know. Okay.
What is she filling in?
She's filling in for Billy Walton.
But is she filling the unexpired
Yes.
remainder of his term? So
Yes.
it wouldn't be a full 4
So
years,
it would
right?
be
You're appointing her to fill the unexpired term of Mr. Walton.
do I have a motion?
So moved.
Second.
Any questions? All in favor?
Aye.
Board. Item F, which we don't have on your board, but that is LP 23, good timing. They're here to discuss, we've had discussions on the rail jam, there are some questions, but they're here to answer them and see if we get our approval tonight. So,
Thank you.
come on up. How was your trip to New York?
We pulled in about 9 o'clock last night and pulled out at about 10, so fast, but we made it back here in time. So I know there's a number of questions. We'll try and address some of the ones that we know are out there right now and open up for questions on the others. So first off, just a bit of overview and I'll ask Michelle and Katie to jump in. Okay, so here's a full schedule of events. I think we were asked for something more detailed than what you had seen before. So we have schedules for the entire Main Street and the activities by day and by time, and what to expect. There is one thing on the rail jam right now, depending on the setup time, obviously with the weather. I think it moved from initially, Janet, what I had sent you was Friday and Saturday for both days. We're actually gonna keep it Friday and Saturday, just because, yeah, so Saturday will be the only setup, exactly.
Yeah.
But we won't move the rail jam to Sunday, we'll keep the dates for the rail jam, we'll just move the setup.
Okay, perfect. We're just,
Just go back, I think, sorry, actually, I passed your information on, 2 weekends, the dates.
So there's Friday and Saturday, so it was Friday the 13th and Saturday the 14th, and then the following, which is the
20 and
20 and 21. But because of the setup time, we may lose Friday the 13th because the road being closed on a Friday. The course needs some time to set up to be ready. So, but those details are on here now, and you'll see all the activities and the times that they correspond with. So the overall contractor that we have, Aventis, that's the main lead on these items, is contracting with Tyler. Tyler, I don't know his last name, Watson, to build the rail jam. That's done in conjunction or coinciding with the luge demonstration that will be there. I believe there's some schematics.
Yeah, so those will be running side by side and we'll get you a final schematic on exactly what the layout of that will look like as soon as we have all of Gordy's dimensions finalized.
Okay, so Gordy from USA Luges.
And they've been working really closely together this whole time, and so they feel really confident that those things will be really symbiotic in that space, and Greg can attest to that.
Yeah, I talked to Tyler today, he's fine with helping Gordy build both of them, so they're side by side.
Yeah, so they're working together very closely.
And so you already have the Aventus insurance, I believe, and Tyler Watson has his own insurance policy, and I believe he received his COI today, so if you'd like to take a look at that, Jen.
I think we asked for the name to be corrected on the Aventus, the name of the village.
Yep.
All policy,
There was one other one too that needed a correction, I forget what it
Yes,
was.
and I need clarification on that too, because I'm getting conflicting. Is it Lake Placid Village Incorporated or Village of Lake Placid Incorporated?
Lake Placid Village, Inc.
Okay.
We may have a few others too.
We'll make sure
Yeah,
that's good across the board.
So I think those were the main questions that came up on the insurance, on the dates, on how the contract would flow. There is also a build-out schedule for when it would begin, and then obviously it won't flow into the street, but on the setup, there will need to be, the road needs to be closed for when they're doing the setup. So that's why it would start on the Friday, the 12th, when, Thursday, the 12th, when the street is closed. Anything else I missed?
I think you covered it all.
Well, when you mentioned the insurance, you're also talking about the waivers
Yep, we have a copy of the waiver that he can.
and then the agreement between LP 23 and the village to hold the event.
Is that part of the outstanding MOU? Can we just add it to that MOU?
We're gonna ask for you to indemnify us.
I think that was already in there with the other events,
You
so.
know, and it just, I'm working on it with Michelle, because now with the NVT lot being used by multiple parties, we're trying to put it all in one agreement with all parties to sign the same agreement.
And we would just love approval on the waiver that we're using to ensure that it's up to the village's standards. Because if there's any red lines, we'll just pass it on to Aventus and we can make those changes to ensure it covers everybody.
Who's in charge of having the waivers signed?
Aventus.
I think one of the other questions are, and I'll defer to you, but one of the questions was, the installation will go in and then that MBT lot is gonna close down every night at 9. And what kind of security are you gonna have so that we don't have people trying out the rail jam for themselves?
I've been working with Chris Sullivan, and he, the Olympic Committee's gonna hire, USOC is gonna hire G&A security to man that booth, man the tent, and cover any security issues, 10 a.m. to 5 a.m., 10 p.m. to 5 a.m. every day.
There will also be 24-hour security at Mintz Park right there, so there's backup.
And then, in the week between the two weekends, is there gonna be 24/7 security, or are you gonna pull the apparatus out? Are you gonna pull the rails out?
It's not gonna come
It
out.
won't come out because it
No.
freezes in,
We'll
but that's.
have barricades that we can gate off the course, so people would have to jump the barricades to get to the course. But there'll always be, during normal business hours, there'll be people there, and every night there'll be people there. There'll be security there.
Well, the hours for the tent, I believe, are 1 to 9.
Right.
So it's not gonna be mornings or nights, so just kind of worried for everybody that there would be access to that and somebody would do something fun but stupid.
Well, I think that's where USOPC's security comes in, because they'll be there when people aren't there.
Well, just to correct everything, they're only there in the evening for that. So if it's a requirement that we need to man it during the operating hours and in the morning during the village, it seems excessive, but we can reach back out to Chris Sullivan
I
now.
have to check on the hours of the Mintz Park security. I'm not sure if that's a 24-hour
It is
post
24.
on
That was
Mintz Park.
24. However, even though technically USOPC is Their activations are from 1 until 9. They're going to be there ahead of time, opening up, and all of our team are going to be on Main Street, opening up, making sure that snow is removed, and there's going to be activity throughout all of Main Street ahead of time as well.
There'll be eyes and ears on it all.
But USOPC is not responsible for the rail jam.
Right.
No, but remember, it coincides with the luge. You could have the same argument that somebody could grab a sled and attempt to go. down
That's
the
right,
luge, so
and
we're
Luge
doing it
is,
jointly.
then I've had those conversations with, and Luge is supposed to have security too. We're not differentiating between the two.
Yeah,
It's a requirement for
we'll work
everything.
jointly on it. I think that with the activities on Main Street, I mean, you can't control every person at every moment, so I would say it's probably overkill if we've got the main hours during the night where we're really concerned that somebody is coming out of a bar or something and jumping on it. And then obviously during the hours of activation, and with the setup, there might be a couple of gaps where somebody's not standing there 24/7. We can talk to the event security stationed at Mids Park and see if they could fill that gap, I guess. And I'm assuming the gap's.
And I don't think this board is just disagreeing with you when everything's going on, you don't need security, it's for those off hours. The dark.
The course isn't going to encroach on the plantings on the green
No,
space.
this just stays on the pavement. And just to reiterate that the security, GNA security will be there every night, not just the nights that we have rail jam. So starting on the 12th to the 22nd, GNA is contracted with the OPTC to provide security, 10 p.m. to 5 a.m.
And the rail jam is 2 to 4 on the,
So Fridays and Saturdays.
okay.
Weather
And what
permitting.
time is Luge?
It's on there.
Luge is scheduled for 1 to 3, but we'll adjust their hours based on the rail jam, on those 4 nights of the rail jam. That'll push Luge back.
They'll shift slightly for the rail jam.
Is it open to the public? Can anybody sign up?
The
No,
rail jam?
it's an
No.
exhibition.
You want to try it, Jackie?
I don't think so.
So I know actually.
But 100 people, really, I mean, you've got 100 people signed up for this?
Well, as of now, Tyler said that he expects by the time the word gets out to everybody that there'll be 100 people.
And I think at our last count, there was 30 to 40. that
Each
were
evening.
Each evening.
In order to keep it tenable and manageable and within the hours that we proposed, we've limited him to 20 to 30.
Are these people being paid?
No,
Okay.
they are being
That
given
just goes to-
really cool hoodies.
So when they realize that they're not gonna be able to drive or park in the upper NBT lot, they're gonna have to drag their boards on the shuttle. I don't know how they're gonna get there.
Yeah.
Okay. But they, and you will not encroach on the upper NBT, any of the parking spaces up there because they're at a premium.
Right.
Where are you getting the snow?
From the airport.
Is there any there?
There's tons, yeah.
Yeah.
And we've already reached out there, Cody's aware, he's gave us permission, so.
And when you say the airport, you don't mean making it down there, you mean where's?
No, it's piled up down there. Yeah.
Where's it plowed for the roadway?
Yeah.
No salt, no dirt, right?
No solid dirt, that's why we use it, right?
And I think it goes back to the question, but once again, the luge and rail jam will stay in the footprint of the road and not grow out brand new trees.
Who's hauling it?
Who's hauling the snow?
Last time I talked, Brad said he was.
I talked with Brad this morning, he says he's okay with that.
But we're not responsible for preparing the course at all.
No, that's
That's the
Tyler.
contract with Tyler.
He's got a snow cab. And he has insurance.
That's the,
And if
Thank
you could just speak a little bit more to the run out area.
So what they'll do is they'll berm the bottom of it, but most of the features will be far enough up. They don't really gain that much speed, and as you can tell, the slope isn't very steep.
It's not
so-
very long, yeah.
Yeah, it's not about speed, it's more just about them, rail jamming. Yeah, so they land and they don't need that much space to stop, but it won't encroach into the fire lane, it'll be a very contained footprint.
So can I ask a question? I think 2 questions is, what do you guys feel this is adding?
I think,
And a follow-up to that is kind of what, given that this is kind of, pretty near the time. And, there's a lot to do, what are you not gonna do because this is there?
Sure, so I think that the big thing is the value add. This for the community, having more than 100 local athletes excited about this for the last 3 weeks. Turning this off at this point would be a huge letdown. I mean, it's one of the main draws to that Main Street. If you think about, these are mostly younger riders and skiers who have families around here and friends who are gonna come out and they're gonna enjoy the street and they're gonna do more than just watch the rail jam. They're gonna come out and enjoy this event that the town has this incredible opportunity to host. So that, I mean, the value add to not only the event, but the community is huge. And I think that, it's really, to flip your question around a little bit, not what are we not gonna do being this close to the planning phase, but what are we gonna be allowed to do that's been planned for so many months already?
I would say the two things to piggyback on that. So it's been a part of the plan since the initial proposal, so it's not that we're adding something that we don't have time to do and now we're gonna pull back on something else. So it was part of the scope.
But I thought the reason for my question was not an appreciation for them, I thought it had dropped because it wasn't part of the plans that were
No,
submitted.
we've been planning on this from the very beginning.
Different location.
It was supposed to be in the Episcopal Church.
I believe.
It was, yeah, then subject to their approval, which they,
But we
I
would-
understand they
This
didn't
was always
do,
our
so.
plan B.
But in the proposal that you got, this was the official plan. So this has been the official plan that was presented to the board the whole time.
And also to piggyback on that, I've reached out to ski shops, Cunningham's and Lake Pleasant Ski and Board, and they're very excited about it from a business perspective and from a sport perspective. And they've been passing the word on to their customers and their families and their.
And other local businesses have come in to sponsor the making of these hoodies for all these athletes and.
Pure Placid,
Been a huge
candy
community
shop,
buy-in.
everybody, yeah.
And I think that, to me, one of the goals has been to try and put as much activity there on Main Street, it's kind of a goal to add to it. We do have the concerts, and we have kind of the fire pits, but to add something different, especially when it's got a shorter window, you can walk by, you can see something that's not normally there on Main Street. It's a value add from a draw standpoint to get people to disperse and have one more feature of entertainment to be enjoyed on the street.
Especially for young people. I mean, this is really, when we, in the initial planning stages, had talked about whether or not to focus on the rail jam, given that the initial location would be difficult to work with. We fought really hard for this because it was the thing that we knew was gonna bring people, especially young people from the community out.
So what is the, I guess, eligibility then? As you mentioned a couple of times that there's a, focus on local athletes and that kind of thing, which is great, but is this just kind of an open
Well, Tyler
process
is
or
a,
is there?
Tyler builds the park for Orta at White Base. And so he's tapped into that community of athletes that are at that level and has a really, acute understanding of who is capable of this kind of performance. And so we've really left it to the professionals to work with and choose who is going to participate.
But it's an invite, right? Like not
It's
anybody that
yeah.
wants.
Yeah, it's an invite.
No, it's totally invite. It's at his discretion.
So Jackie, you're up. Sorry.
I mean, we might be able to make an exception for Jackie.
Unless, Jackie, unless you got an invite.
Maybe I did.
Are you going to have any security lights that are going to light up the neighborhood or anything?
We have Eric Wilson's providing lighting for, in case it goes into the evening, because it's, and plus it's, in case it's a dark day.
Right.
So he's bringing in lights that we're putting up on the skier's left side as we go down. So that we'll put those lights on the landscaping features, but we won't destroy them.
Are those going to stay on at night for security?
Those will stay on for the rail jam if you want us to keep them.
Oh, I don't know, I just.
Yeah, the plan was to keep them
thinking
for the
out
event,
loud.
during the event time, and if we need lights for security, we'll keep them on.
The neighbors would be happy if it wasn't lit up.
Yeah, exactly. Well, I'm pointing down the hill, so.
And that attracts attention. We
That's what I was just
yeah.
gonna say, you might not want to attract the attention.
Did you have any more questions?
I mean, I'd love to see a schematic of where Luge in relation to the rail jam.
Sure, yes, and we'll get that to you. We can get that to you hopefully by the end of the week.
Yeah.
We're just waiting on some more specifics from Gordy.
Can we show at least an initial sketch?
Yeah,
Can we
it's,
do that until we get the, well, no,
can-
like, can they send us an initial schematic,
We
knowing
have-
that it might change dimensions?
yeah, we'll share that.
Let's just share what we have
Yeah.
now, so we can sense for it.
I mean, Peter, your concern is it's only so wide and the rails have to go in one place So people, if they fall off, they don't fall into a building, and then where's the loop?
Literally 25 feet now, you can have a luge track and the rail, because the rail has to be up higher, because you need room to stop. In that 25, the skinny areas where both would need to be.
Yeah, well, they're gonna run side by side,
Yes.
right? So the rails will be on, it would be skiers left, and then the luge would be skiers right, and then there'll be a place to walk up in between. And so the way that they figured it out, it fit just fine.
Doesn't the luge come down and turn into?
It does.
Yeah, so the luge, they're gonna, so,
So will the rail only be accessed from one side or the other, as far as?
so the rails are gonna go, I'm sorry, yeah, I can tell that this is now like an issue of understanding how it's laid out. But if this is the ramp, let's say, the rails will be one here, they'll stop here before the road. Luge will run here into the parking lot. So luge will kind of make a J over into the lower
You have to
MBT lot.
ski to get on the rail.
Just a little bit. They're gonna just kind of like hop up there and then get a little bit of speed, hop on the rail.
It's kind of rail jam is more like skateboarding.
Exactly, yeah.
So
It's,
you don't need a lot of speed or anything, you're doing tricks on features.
Do you have,
so they'll run parallel.
do you have,
Well, I understand that.
Okay.
I mean, like, can you just log into the meeting and?
I can, let me, yes, I probably can.
While she's doing that,
I would need a link to log into the meeting though, or I could maybe just pass the computer around even.
I think, because it looks like there's nobody online.
There should be some kind of hard barrier so they can't travel into the Main Street area.
Yeah, we'll have barricades at the bottom.
Take a pedestrian out.
Well, they were imagining a snow barrier.
So we'll have bicycle fencing at the bottom to prevent any athletes from leaving the snow onto the street.
Or spectator walking on.
Should I just plug in? Can I hard line it in?
I think if you could just show it on there. maybe.
Yeah. So, as you can see here, that's the ramp. So there'll be two rail features and then the luge is gonna run right down next to it.
I mean,
It's not a very, I mean, the drawing here is
the
really
drawing,
rudimentary.
the lower rail feature is very close to the road.
Tyler told me today, he's gonna have a 60-foot space between the last feature and the street. He said that's plenty enough. Based on the slope of the hill and based on the snow pile, the snow is 60 feet. So that's plenty, that's what he's done for lakes. He's confident that'll work.
Yeah, how long is the course? Is it even 60 feet?
It's a lot more than that. Actually, the length of the lower lot is like 150 or 70. So the length of that ramp would be almost about that.
150 by 70, yeah.
No, yeah, right,
To the street,
150 or 70, yeah. The length of that lower MBT lot is quite wide.
Tyler, he's an old employee right now, right?
Right.
He also has his own business, Adirondack Excavating, and that's contracted with.
Yeah, so his grasp of, the mechanics of this and also the layout of, a course or a space is pretty incredible because of what he does.
Who's constructing the apparatus?
He is.
Yes.
Tyler Watson.
This is something he's obtaining where? The apparatus?
Building up.
Out of
Steel.
Steel
He's
pipe.
got pipes and support pieces
Yeah.
that he's welding right now. I just talked to him about an hour ago.
Has he ever made them before?
Yes.
Because I know Orta buys them, makes them.
Orta buys them, but he's worked at Sugar Bush before, and he's got his own company that does
I'm
this.
sure Sugar Bush buys them, they don't make them. Tyler didn't make the ones for Sugar Bush.
So just like, according to that, it looks like the rail jam is sort of prominent down
the right side.
down the right side and taking most of
Skiers
the
left.
hill. Yes, skiers left, yeah. And then the luge track looks like it's not on that hill. Is that right, that the luge track's short? It may just be the way
It's
it's.
hard to tell.
And that's why I didn't want to like get ahead of our skis here on this because it doesn't actually show the track.
Sure.
Because we're waiting on dimensions, but it will run parallel to that. And Gordy and Tyler have been working really closely from the beginning. Both of them have a lot of experience building out courses like this. And so that's made me feel really comfortable because they've been working so well and both have so much experience in this sort of
Gordy
space.
builds multiple ski resorts every year.
Yeah. Yeah. they're two really good people to have on the job.
Anybody else with questions?
I walked it, Peter, I walked it with Tyler before we actually signed any kind of contract with him to see how he felt about that run out. And that was my big question too, was, are we gonna have enough room at the bottom? And do we need to take this into the street? Because that's not really an option. And he had felt really confident from the beginning that that space was gonna be plenty of room to work with.
So I didn't get it, the barrier on the bottom is snow or what's?
Snow, yeah. build up
Snow and a hard barrier and a barricade.
Okay, but that the athletes can't be injured by?
Well, we're gonna put pads in front of the barricade. So it'll be snow, then it'll be pads resting against the barricades.
Is that gonna be, I mean, I think the balance is there, like, can people see around that? So what's the pedestrian front?
It won't be that high. Yeah, so we talked about that, the line of sight as well. So it won't be high enough to obstruct view. And frankly, as we said, the speed really isn't gonna be, so it's not, like, they're not running into a backstop. There's just a natural barrier there so that should something happen, I wouldn't go into the street.
Yeah, sorry, Jenna, I'm just over here. Brad called the other day and said that the snow lot was no longer needed, and so that it was going to be empty. So we moved things there to fill it, so we didn't have an empty blank space.
So that's a different topic than the board's on right now. It raises issues of the ice sculptures and insurance and all that for those people.
We have COIs for everybody. All the subcontractors have COIs and are contracted
And
through
in the village, now that they're all gonna be doing it in the clock lot.
Yeah, they always named the village because it would
Can
have
we see
been
them, please?
on the main street. We can get that. Do
We
you want
might
to
need to
see?
change the name though. It
Yeah,
sounds
we'll
like the
double check
name-
all of them.
And look, that's off topic, but this is the first time I've seen that you're gonna have vendors or people or exhibitors in that lot.
Yeah, I mean, so if we're gonna go back in time, that was initially part of it, and then it was pulled out because there was concern about needing that lot. And then when Brad called up and said, no, it's gonna be empty, you don't wanna leave it empty.
No, that was the last
They were
time I knew
always
there was
part of
just
the
gonna be
Main
an
Street
igloo
plan.
in there.
And I think some of this too, it would be, I'm not sure who the best person is to be the main point of contact, but I think it would be helpful for us if there is a main point of contact. We wanna make sure that we are communicating and giving all of updated information, because things should probably change, so
That's the mayor.
should it go through?
Sure.
through
That's
you?
what I get the big dollars for.
Okay. So any changes?
The one question I have is, I didn't realize that, I haven't even read it yet, but the clock parking lot, are there vendors in there and are they, okay.
Exhibitors
on Main
Right, I
Street
just was
are-
worried about conflicting with Main Street merchants, okay.
It'll just be the ice sculptures and then 2 domes.
2 domes? Okay, so
You can check the power requirements out.
Yeah, but that was supposed to be one.
last I knew, I'll just speak for myself, because I'm drafting these agreements, so I like to know what goes in them. There was 1 dome there, and you jettisoned 2 domes, they were going to order, and that was gonna leave.
Yeah, and that,
So where are the domes now?
so we'll have 4 domes on Main Street. There will be 1 closer to the Mids Park area. There'll be 1 in the lower MBT lot. There'll be 2 in the clock lot. And then as of this evening, 1 will shift to another venue. But
So,
we're just,
I'm sorry, Katie, it was 4 domes on Main Street, 1 in the clock lot, or 2? And 1 in the NBT lot?
yes.
Okay, that's new, I didn't have that. Where's that going? Because that seems to be kind of full, the NBT lot with the
Oh, no,
bathrooms.
that's always been in the plan. It's not new. That's been in the plan since the very beginning. I can
Well,
bring
it
it.
might have been in your plan, but not communicated.
Was
so I
it
can-
30 by 90 and 10?
It's in,
It was in the last photos that we sent.
it's in, this is the official village board proposal.
Huh? Okay.
Katie, when we're done, maybe let's just resend that, so that if there's any
Yeah.
questions, and if there's any changes, let's know.
This is the dome that was always in the lower MBT lot. And this is the official proposal, the final village board proposal that was shown.
Is that the one the USRPC did?
Yeah.
That's the one that we just got last week. Is there enough room to plow with that dome and everything and space between the?
I don't believe there was any plan to plow the lower MBT lot. That was just gonna
Only if
be,
there's snow.
Well, we have snow, we have the
Oh,
go-to.
the snow blowers and stuff that we.
We're gonna shovel that out.
yeah, but plowing or any kind of snow removal on the village's part was gonna remain to the sidewalks and
Yeah.
the fire lane.
Okay.
Any more questions from the board?
I think just to come, I think just mindful of the space issue and that, you know, there is some landscaping there and appreciate that the intention is to not damage or encroach on the landscaping. If that does happen, what's the mitigation?
We would either be billed to replace it or
The
replace it however.
agreement that's
MOU.
a moving target will reflect that. I'll put something in. that-
Because we do have a guarantee on those trees, but I'm sure.
The
if we
land will
trump
be-
them, they'll-
And the land will be returned to its,
Okay.
Yeah.
That's understandable.
So what is our next move? Do we need to entertain a motion to accept the rail jam, provided that we get insurance waivers and indemnifying the village in an agreement?
And just before we do that, do we want to do an inspection of that property before we start building the rail jam? That way, everybody knows it's on the same page.
Take some pictures.
Right.
So we can fix whatever is.
well, we are going to want pictures, not just eyeballs.
Yeah.
Right.
A video, pictures.
So this all happened on Thursday.
What's that?
The build out is Thursday. The 12th.
Yeah, yeah.
Yes.
So before the day that, before we start moving snow there, we'll take a picture, we'll take pictures.
Would you, I think we'll take pictures. You can take them too, but I
Okay,
think
yeah.
we're gonna have to take them.
Yeah, that's fine.
As this was already approved as part of the original proposal, do we just let it lie and provide the COI and waiver for your approval?
No, I think if this board, whatever their action is going to have to be based on the facts that we know now, that this is approved as you currently presented it. So if there's any changes or anything, we'll have to know, and maybe there'll have to be more action. But it's certainly going to be contingent upon the finalization of the agreement. My recommendation to the board is going to be that it's conditioned upon the final agreement being signed, approval of all of the waivers that the athletes will sign, a final security plan, a final schematic plan of the layout, and acceptable approved insurance from anybody who's involved. I know you've got them there, and I just haven't seen them. So, you know, there's still a lot of review and an agreement. We've talked about this, and I did speak to Teresa last week. I gave her a proposed license agreement, which she approved, said to give it to you.
I responded to her yesterday with some feedback because there's a few things in there. Like it says that we applied for the DOT permit.
Right, well, that's the MOU.
Oh, that's what I thought you,
No, there's
okay.
a whole separate license agreement. And that's
probably
now,
fine.
that's now being revised to include
The other
Florida
parts.
USOPC, biathlon, luge,
Curling.
and anyway, so we have work in progress.
Got it. Okay. Understood.
So I think we're beyond the stage where it's anything conceptual. If this board decides to act, it would be acting upon plans as presented with the details that we know now, subject to the things that I mentioned, the agreement, insurance, et cetera.
I think if we can also just say, Michelle or Katie, who will be the point from our side? Which one?
You
do
had
want
told
to be
me
there?
earlier, Ashley, Michelle, so I was
Yeah,
gonna
I
put
mean,
that in the
I want to make
agreement.
sure,
That's
so,
fine.
okay. So if there's any changes to anything, then She'll
So,
notify you so that everybody can be aware.
yes.
Okay.
So we'll put the contact people as for the village art for Main Street, you, Michelle. You better move up here. For those two.
She's been here some long days. And I had to get approval from her board to do that.
Yeah, both my boards.
Yeah. Would it be possible to request feedback on the waiver as soon as possible, just so that we can make sure that when our team rolls in?
Well, as soon as I get them, I can look at them, but I haven't been provided. So, yes, I will do my best.
Thank you.
So at this point, then, are we voting on this, or are we waiting for hard plans?
Well, I think what you've got are the plans. What I was saying is the
Make a
plans
motion to
as
approve it
presented,
I'll make that
subject
motion.
to final design plan to be approved and subject to
And meeting your approval.
the agreement getting signed, the waivers being approved, and all the insurance from the necessary parties being presented, naming the village as additional insurers.
That's your
I'll still make
motion,
that motion, yes.
So, any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Anyone opposed? Congratulations, put on a good show.
It's going to be a really cool event for the community. I think that this is going to be one of those things that sort of goes down in lore for the locals. Well, the Rail Jam.
Yeah.
We'll get her an invite.
But then she might go to the hospital and mix Master Mike on Sunday night.
She'll be there.
That's gonna be the favorite night, you wait and see.
Just wait. Just wait, Jackie.
I'll be there.
All right.
I'll be there.
You could.
We do have one other thing that came up today, that is, I guess there was a request for 15 parking places in the municipal lot. Is that true?
Don't know, I have not heard of it.
What?
Did you-
They've got the
We
whole
just-
lot.
No, it was earlier than when the lot is taken.
Right,
Oh.
before you have, starting on when.
It was,
Did it come from
After the
Chuck?
department head meeting.
Chuck let us know, yes.
Who's asking for it, do you know? And I,
He said it'll be 2023.
I'll have to follow up with Mike, I've been out of the office, so if something came up, say, what are the dates and.
It's that weekend before, it's so it's
This coming weekend.
Yeah.
I wonder if it's the trailer for radios.
If it's at, oh, municipal lot, lot one.
By the post office, yeah.
Or are they loading in the trailer sooner?
Maybe.
I can find out and follow up.
Well,
I don't know what that.
let's just assume that it is true. Chuck threw it out, I'm sure it probably is, but you've got the board here. Does anyone,
Adam would know, wouldn't he?
Michelle, do you know when the Taylor rental is putting the tent up?
you can
Yeah,
check
it's all on
on
the
that,
sheet,
Jackie.
it's on the last page there.
Okay. And bathroom on the 11th.
I'm sure you don't need one.
And you know, I haven't seen the Taylor rental insurance either.
I think what we had
That's
discussed
not
about the
USOPC,
parking spots we
right,
got was
but
what
I
they're
know
used
they're
for, it's
working
not
on
a
it,
busy
and I
weekend
thought they said
typically,
you had
so
something.
15 spots should be a problem.
Okay.
I
Just,
don't,
I
a long
think
time
if it is
ago.
for the trailer, they just have to coincide, so I don't know, I'm sure Chuck obviously has more information than I do at the moment, but he blocked them off for them.
He was being asked to
He was
block.
being asked about them. It's probably, I don't know if everybody's, there's a trailer that's coming in with all the radios.
It's a booster, right?
It's a booster, well, no, to I don't know, program the radios so that they're
All in the same frequency.
compliant and on
Like programs and like charges them off and does everything.
yeah, and then make sure there's not conflicting signals with other, state police and other entities, but that has to be there because of the proximity to the area, so that's.
So
I'm guessing it's
this says Taylor rental delivers items to Clock Lot. What's going in?
yes, so that is the Aventus crew has their stuff that, like, they rented from Taylor Rental at forklifts and all of the weights and stuff that will help weigh down all of the domes and any of the supplies that Aventus has rented themselves. That's what that delivery is, and they will be dropping off all of that stuff into the Clock Lot. So that's a different delivery than what the other Taylor Rental is.
I don't, and I'm just seeing this for the first time, so where it says Taylor Rental delivers the forklift, that's on Monday the 23rd.
No, that's when they're
That's
picking it up.
Okay,
We have so
where
many
is where
things coming
Taylor
up.
Rental is delivering the tent to the NBT lot? Is it
That is
USOPC tent
USOPC tent, right? Which
Thursday.
is Taylor Rental
Okay,
between
so
the.
that's Thursday, gotcha. And these are all confirmed times?
Yeah, I mean, they may,
Or
subject
dates,
to, you know, yes, they are all confirmed dates. Times, of course, things happen and, you know, things aren't always on time, but these are as close as they can be.
The 12th.
12 to 10 o'clock.
So it looks like Taylor Rental may be delivering tents before the road closes.
They've been told to deliver before then, so.
Well, we were told we had access to the parking lots before.
Well, I don't know. That's all up to you guys, how these people are all getting beyond the barriers once the road closes.
And I think Chuck had said today he was gonna notice everything the day before, so that people were aware of what was
Yes.
happening, so hopefully we won't have too much to
Speaking
deal
of
with.
Chuck and road closures, late this afternoon, he came to me with a request from you guys that he wanted our board to know about that's not on here, about the torch run. Because the streets need to be closed, and he says our board wasn't notified about that. So he wanted to make sure our board is okay with that. If any of you want to describe.
Oh, that's
Yeah,
what she said, that must be you, not
The
me.
torch, yeah, we're not traveling on any closed streets for the torch run.
Okay. He said that 73 would have to be closed.
No, I think he's talking about temporary, like a temporary closure as the run is happening. So we're not closing the road off, we're just escorting the torch runners in.
Okay. Well, I guess he just wanted the board to know about that and make sure it's
Yeah, he asked
okay
me,
with everyone.
he asked me for that information last week, actually. Finalized our final torch relay.
Yeah, and then I guess coming into the village and to the rink, so he wanted to make sure the board knows because.
Okay, so just so I thought he would be here, but the torch relay on the 12th is the final stop before the cauldron is lit in the evening for the opening ceremony. And the torch relay concept is that we start with the ski jumps with students from high school and North Country School, a limited number of older students who could run the whole way in. And then they would basically travel from the jumps into the traffic light at 76, at 73 and 86. We would pick up the younger students that will be staged at Man and Beast parking lot, and they'll travel the last couple hundred yards up Main Street to the Oval, where we'll lose the vehicles because the road's closed. So vehicles will stop at Mirror Lake at Central Garage, and then the kids will continue on up through the up Main Street to the Golden Arrow. We're going to stop for a hot chocolate party that the Golden Arrow is providing. Then we're going to spin it around and finish up at the 32 Great Plaza for our final ceremony before the torch is
So
sealed.
cars can get by when this is all going on?
No, it'll be like a parade. So we'll have a temporary closure, depending on the number of students. We don't have a confirmation from the school
Is
on how
people
many
going to go
students they have.
military?
Yeah, no, people can go military or people can follow behind. So they'll just be slowed down.
Chuck was just concerned because there's going to be it says there could be 150 kids in the road. He wanted to make sure you all understand that.
Right, and
It is-
the
it is road
150,
closure.
the 150 kids in the road will be from the traffic light at 86 and 73 up. So, and that'll be, if that many show up, we'll just do we're basically doing a rolling caravan. That cars will still be able to move, but they'll be slower and they'll be fine. So there'll be a law enforcement at the beginning and the end of the procession, our LP 23 vehicles in the middle, and then the kids at the dead side of it.
So is state police, is somebody going to be there at the junction 73 and Old Military?
Chuck has been working with state police, and Mike Ryan's been working with those guys.
Most people aren't going to know about it, so they potentially follow these people going 10 miles an hour, if that.
There's inconveniences all over.
Yeah.
So that'll be.
So what time does this start, Greg?
It starts at 1:30 on Thursday afternoon.
Is there gonna be signage just to, if people do come there, that they know that they can detour?
It's such a
to
temporary
military?
thing, we weren't gonna announce signs.
The
It's
whole thing
basically,
takes
it's just like if there's a fire, right? So
Yeah.
they'll
Well,
slow
I mean,
down.
just like a pop-up or something, just like something, just at that junction.
Right, yeah, we have a
Do we have
very
one
full
there?
messaging board
Okay, we
here,
can
but-
program the EMS.
So talk to Mark
It's a good
Pascal
idea, yeah, we'll
and
do that.
Chuck, because we have a variable messaging board right there that they can just program the campus.
Yeah, we can put that up the day before, we'll say, Thursday,
George Run expected.
which are expected 1:30 delays.
So when does it end? It starts at 1:30 and when does it end at
2 o'clock.
32 Rank
Oh,
Plaza?
no, it ends at 2 o'clock at the Golden Arrow, and then at 2:25, we leave the Golden Arrow, come to the 32 ring. So there's a gap while the kids are having lunch.
So how's it get from the Golden Arrow to,
We'll run from the Golden Arrow down to the
The street would
33.
be closed.
all the kids or just?
As many kids as stay around, yeah. So it'll be great.
Depends how good your hot chocolate is.
Yeah, the hot chocolate's so good, we'll lose the kids. No pressure though.
They're all accredited.
Huh?
Never mind.
As long as there's a lot of whipped cream, we're up the other.
Jen, or do we need a vote on the parking spots, or do we just approve?
Did we vote on anything yet? We didn't.
No.
Yes, we voted on the real.
The real jam.
But I'm just
You
asking.
seconded it.
We've got everybody here, time's running out, let's just do it right, is all I'm
I don't
asking.
think we need to vote on the parking spots, it's just.
Just, okay.
Yeah, I mean, do we know what you're talking about? I mean, Ashley, you said you're gonna get somebody.
I did.
I don't think they asked for 15 spots, so it doesn't really matter what they're being, necessarily what they're being used for.
When do they want them?
Chuck said this
Trying
weekend.
this weekend.
Want me to call Adam right now?
He's
I just
dealing
did.
with another fire at the moment, so
Yes.
let's let him be.
Okay, we don't need anything, does anyone have any opposition to them coming in? Good, okay, that's that. And then that will bring us down to the non-road closure that will be a road closure that'll tie up traffic. Does anyone have any objections to that, or any questions?
We'll do the variable.
That's perfect.
And do we need a vote on that?
It's with there should be a police officer there and there should be signage to let people know. Now it's should go military way instead of getting copied.
Oh, yeah, so people know.
I was on a call with Chuck and the state police probably last week, and we had a conversation about this, and they were fine, they will help assist with it. They did say it's bad weather, and they don't, and I think it's
Is
a
that
safety
snowing?
issue. What's that?
Does that mean snowing?
Let's hope it does. No, they were more concerned about like
Yeah.
slippery roads or something and having 200 kids running, 200, whatever it is. So they said that they would not allow it if it was a public safety issue, so. Yeah.
I think this board has to know what resources our police department is going to have to provide from corner store in. That's all village territory. Chuck's on
Or if the
board.
state police is going to handle that for you?
Because it may involve overtime that you'd have to approve.
That's going to be given for 10 days.
And we've done a lot of the torch runs, we're just obviously completed one of our last ones today, and normally, so we have cars with lights, and so they go at the front and the back. Generally, the roads do not close, and then we run it in that format. Greg, you could talk more about it.
You know, for the
It is
people that are out there,
progression.
so you are going to want a way for them to know when they hit old military that they can. I'm hoping the police, state police will do that.
You're such an easy route around it, just.
I think it's great you're involved in high school.
Yeah, really good.
Yeah, that's great. Does anyone have any objections there? Okay. Is there anything they haven't thought of?
Of course.
I'd love to say no, but I.
One thing that did come up, just in the margins of the previous discussion, is that, is it right that there's a locals discount on tickets? Okay. How can we get the word out more on that? 'Cause I have to say, I am one of the people who paid full price. I didn't find out about that until
And so
tonight.
two things are happening. So Ruth, I think, initially put it out. We've been trying to put it on our social channels. If there's any other way to spread the word, we are.
Is it in the paper or like, just trying to think about like.
This was a Roost initiative, and it was running from the 1st until the 5th, so there's only 2 more days.
And then there has been some questions about people that have purchased full price tickets. And so we are offering 2 free tickets to any event of your choice if you purchase full price and we're not able to access the code. So I do the tickets information there.
Sure.
Email them. But any way that you can help us to spread the word on it.
Is there a code or anything that people have to put in?
Yeah, I think it's local 50.
Locals 40,
Locals or
with an S.
But
Locals.
to get the, have a name, like, for instance, we're going to do 2 free ones.
Then there was an email address on the tickets when you purchase them. You email them, letting them just asking a question and they'll give you a specific code for you to use.
Because I think it's just, I mean, for myself, I don't care, but I think it's just, one of the things that we've been really keen on from the start is just getting people engaged, making people feel like, the extra, overtime for police and stuff like that is something that they get a little bit of. I mean, the tickets are only $15 generally anyway, so it's not like it's gonna break the bank, but I think it's, it's still a really nice gesture, and it'd be great to make sure that people know about it, to take advantage of it.
And if people aren't, maybe we can extend
The
it.
season tickets where you're supposed to get,
Oh, yeah, two at Whiteface too, yeah.
no, as a season ticket holder, you're supposed to get some tickets to other events.
That's right.
Yeah, there's a code there too.
Yeah, I think we got that one, but I think I hadn't heard about the
We've
other.
had a pretty great local response so far.
Yeah, some negative.
Plus also people should realize that there's a,
So, yeah, Lauren,
Yeah.
we got that.
Yeah, we did have, yesterday we had our highest selling ticket sales. So.
actually, maybe you want to talk about the free school ticketing program also.
Yeah, so all school programs we are offering, obviously free tickets for any school groups or community clubs that want to go. So Patricia Preston's kind of our lead on that as the community relations, but if you hear of any others that aren't getting the word, please put it out there because we're really encouraging them to come and see some of the daytime events.
And as far as opening ceremonies, closing ceremonies, will you want the board there? I mean, just so people aren't buying tickets if they're supposed to.
So you should have all received an invite.
I did not get it yet, but it's possible that.
Like a while, like not recently.
Like in December.
Yeah.
Katie's our newest board member, so
Yeah.
she might not be on your list.
As well as an invite to the final torch relay ceremony.
Yeah, all of that has to go out. So there should have been several invites coming to the board, one being for that opening, one for a closing reception, and one for a welcome reception on the 13th. So there should
Can
be,
you resend that?
yeah, I have the response to everybody. I can check and see who's RSVP and who's not.
Great, I think you've got the details, but I can.
Yeah.
I know, I've got things to respond.
Are we getting village credentials?
You can go to Tracy, she'll give you.
Oh, that.
Well, when you say village credentials, you mean our village?
Yeah, I mean, does that work on all of the events?
No, that just,
Just the, not even openings, closing ceremonies?
So you all get an invite to the opening and closing.
So it's over and above what we have for, like, we have village IDs basically.
You need LP 23 credentials.
Or an all access ticket.
Yeah.
It's slated for the village to get. I don't know, I have not seen the village.
I mean, it's just an ID that we have so that.
Okay.
that's more to help us get around, I think, outside, but I don't think it gets us into any
Yeah.
venues or events.
It's not like
It's
an
not,
event credential.
Right.
it's not,
That's just our.
okay, to get you.
No, this is basically so that if you go to someone's house in your DPW, they have to prove you are, that's what this is. So this is nothing what you're talking about.
Is there a issue with, Jackie, this came up about ability to give things to elected members. Is there any regulations, restrictions on that? Is it a
We have an
dollar
ethics,
amount?
we have an ethics policy and the state has an ethics policy, so.
I mean, where are the states? Is it the same? for
It is,
for this?
Yes.
We've been having some challenges with that, trying to provide
$25.
people with certain things, so.
Isn't it up to 40?
Is it now?
I don't know.
The state is 15, so.
15?
15.
Well, ours, I think, is 25,
Last I knew,
but we have to go with the most restrictive, because you're kind of a quasi-state funding, right?
Yeah, but we're a nonprofit.
I think our ethics policy is 25, but I'd have to check that, so.
Oops. I know, I'm
speak up.
trying to do nice things.
It does make it tough when you go to Europe and gift giving is expected. You know, it's really, you got to accept it, you can't take it. Okay, anything else? Just like I say, time's running out, don't like that. Coming back. Good luck.
Thank you,
We'll wait here.
thanks, everybody.
Yeah, thanks. We're looking forward to this.
And these aren't wigs, you still have your hair, right?
For now.
I just hide mine. Plus showers.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Anything else?
Greg, you made it back to work.
One involves Janet, so I'll say to the next one. So this is the time of year when we renew state licenses. We have actually 2 new people who want them, the police department between homeless and dealing with claims hasn't had time to shove those coming. But Larry Barney and his granddaughter, I guess it is, they want to renew, but they haven't gotten me the forms yet, so as in the past few years, we renewed them to the end of January, by which time they will look at their. Make a motion on that.
Just down here.
And then the other one, I need Janet's spray on.
It's like the one across from you.
What am I doing?
Are you comfortable figuring this out?
You got my shot.
It is a thought.
Well, we just did that, we just did that.
Yeah, we'll come back. Okay, for now then, jumping to the,
It'll be enough.
So when we can see that.
break.
And it's like.
One question on the warrant.
And does he have any employees?
Like it's first gonna finally staff to stay open.
Yeah, the McKinley.
You'll have,
Yes.
I'm sure.
There's in the March, so part of that was.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Leave grant
Well, because he's got
agreement.
offices here and.
Because we had agreed with these there that our supplement or leave the town. So
Hang on, get that
Yeah.
together.
Yep. We also did, we did most of the labor.
So that's what I'm trying to figure out is if we're able.
And you do get those electronically, right?
Yes. Yeah, thanks for checking. We did, McKinley works.
So,
Yeah, McKinley.
just see Thursday, I'm gonna run.
It's not, it's, everything is in, it's just not rated and.
No, I know, I went by there the other day. I
Is it
saw-
rated?
No, I mean,
No pickleball.
there was snow, I just saw the apparatus,
Yep.
whatever was in there.
We got shut down on that, the town was doing it, the pickleball.
Yeah, they're doing it. That's pretty good. Somebody else is trying it, another leaf grant, they want more pickleball courts, fastest growing.
Is that the orthopedic surgeons that are putting that money?
Saranac Lake has at least 5 now.
Oh, yeah, I bet they get.
And nobody wants to. Just an article in every single national paper, there's
Sounds like
homeowners,
wind turbines.
there's homeowners associations that are suing.
What, does pickleball?
Because it's too
like-
noisy, nobody wants it in their backyard.
But if it was a tennis court, then I think.
Pickleball is noisy.
Is it noisier than tennis?
Oh my God, yes.
Why?
Because you hear the ball hit the ground, you hear the ball hit the paddle, you hear the ball hit the ground, it's like ping pong, you hear it.
Okay, so tennis is,
Tennis you don't hear, yeah,
I
tennis
mean,
you
you
don't
hear a
hear.
grunt. I don't know.
You absolutely hear it. And
Yeah, they do shriek.
New York Times, Wall Street Journal, they've had all these big articles about it.
Interesting.
Did you want to do the MOU, Arda?
Do you guys want to, I don't think this was approved, was it? I mean, you all signed it, but did we get a second?
Not yet, we were waiting for the noise to calm down and Janet. But let's go ahead and finish with that. Do I have a motion to accept warrant affidavit number 10?
Smooth.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
So fast. Anything else come from Treasury that you know of?
I don't believe so. She had our dial and I think she would have called if she had been pressing.
Let's jump back to you.
So Janet has been going back and forth with ARDA over a memorandum of understanding. I don't know if you want to.
It wasn't attached to, I didn't see the memorandum of understanding.
Okay, I don't know.
You mean it wasn't attached? It wasn't attached to the,
Email.
it wasn't, did anybody else see it?
Okay.
Did you see it?
That's okay, then we can make copies and distribute it. It's fairly innocuous.
But this is the rail trail.
Correct. So
Okay.
what it says is ARDA grants to the, and this would be between ARDA, Lake Placid, Tupper Lake, Saranac Lake, they're all called Santa Clara, Harrystown, and North Elba. Says ARDA grants participating trail town a limited right to use its registered trademark Adirondack Rail Trail and associated logo in all official governmental publications, provided, however, that no commercial use of such intellectual property will occur without ARDA's written. It's basically a consolidated marketing plan.
Okay, I wasn't sure what it was, and
ARDA grants to the participating trail town one seat on its board of directors for any representative of the trail town who chooses to designate. So the village of Lake,
board can end up being.
well, it's,
Sorry.
no, North Elba, Harrietstown, Santa Clara, Tupper Lake, Lake Placid, Saranac Lake, and Tupper Lake. That's 7.
How many do we have?
I don't know. And so we would get a seat on their board. And in exchange, any trail town would give the board of directors and staff of ARDA a limited authority in negotiations with other trail towns and state agencies to develop uniform multi-community plans and programs in compliance with applicable zoning and land use laws, rules, regulations, including those that are promulgated by the respective trail towns, but not any fiscal, financial, or budgetary authority to uniform signage, volunteer management, emergency services, snowmobile access and parking, facilities and amenities, i.e. bike racks and restrooms, promotion of the rail trail. ARDA acknowledges that it does not have authority to act as the legal representative or surrogate of any trail town without prior written approval or local government resolution. ARDA agrees to promote the Adirondack Rail Trail and the participating trail towns through social media, print, public relations, and outreach on its interactive website, AdirondackRailTrail.org. So basically, this is looking for all the municipalities along the rail trail to allow ARDA to, come up with, I see it sort of as a marketing plan and that kind of thing in a uniform, but I'll certainly be happy to give you all copies. I got an original draft and I'm the one who promulgated that they add the language about, they gotta comply with zoning.
where are we though with the grant that is turning that property?
So this is the rail trail only. It has nothing to do
with the,
Historical Society land.
okay,
That is, and that was one of the things that I went back and forth with Mr. Wood.
Yeah.
Said I thought this was a little premature because
nothing's been,
done, and, but this is just sort of an overall marketing with regard to the trail. The Historical Society, to the best of my knowledge, has not made the deal yet with Open Space Institute.
okay.
The DEC is no longer going to purchase that section of the,
And they want us to purchase it, take it over?
No. Open Space would purchase it from the Historical Society
and
and
trust
donate
it.
it to us.
Okay,
That's the plan as I understand it.
okay.
But
And we haven't moved any further with it.
I know, no.
Okay, so
Open Space and the Historical Society have not made their deal.
I have to give you full disclosure, this is a NIMBY. And I've looked at where the lines are, I've looked at that egress from that development. It's a challenging exit to begin with, so I'm concerned about how that is going to get managed as far as an in and an out and 60, possibly, 60 spaces. Not that I want to stop it, I don't, but the railroad tracks were there, and that was never any good. So in the railroad crossing, it's a challenge coming out of that development. So
now that there's not a railway there, it's probably the time to look at making the road so it's not that wonky
It
angle.
is that wonky angle, and that's all. I just want to, be diligent about how we make this happen. That's all.
Yeah, that's,
And this is
that's the
obviously
deal with,
open space.
right, but I know that the plan, or whatever it's gonna be, will have to go to the review board.
Okay.
I think, from what I can see, because it's gonna be a change of use.
True.
So it's private property being sold to open spaces, go to the review board to make this change, and then we would have to vote on it to accept what they
I
did.
think they've already started, or
Okay.
I'm not 100% sure about the subdivision approval. I think they've got the subdivision approval, but I'm not 100% sure.
But it is that wonky, it's a bad angle.
Would that be the village's responsibility to fix the wonky
Fix the
angle?
road.
Well, yes, but obviously nobody has brought it up, and now is an opportunity to deal with it.
Your road needs to be paved anyway, right? Is that what I heard? Maybe Quinn?
That's Amy Quinn. That's fine.
So I'm happy, Anita, you want to take this and distribute it to the board? They don't have to vote it on it tonight without having seen it previously.
Yeah, no, I have it too. I was on it.
Yeah, the amendment, this is the
I think so.
amendment.
I think-
Yeah, it was attached. I got it.
My mistake, I didn't read it. Sorry,
I think that-
apologize, Anita.
I think that it was lower down,
Oh,
so.
shame on you for not putting it higher up.
So do we want to put this off to the next meeting? They were pushing for it because they say all the other villages and towns have signed on, and they want everybody on board to help them get grant money.
Well, they
That's
applied
it.
for a LEAF grant in the last cycle, and again, for this type of publicity, advertising, marketing strategy, and a lot of the LEAF committee members felt that it was a little bit premature, because at that point, they didn't even have an executive director. But they did get awarded some funding to do some signage and to do some pamphlets. So all they want is just to get on board so that we can have the logo, or they can have the Lake Placid logo attached to their promotion.
Well, I think it's just a show of support from all the municipalities.
I don't have a problem supporting it.
We ready to vote on that tonight?
Yeah.
I have no issue with it.
Motion?
I think the motion would be to authorize the mayor to sign the memorandum of understanding.
Okay.
So moved.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Anything
And
else?
that is all I have.
Anything to come up under new business? Anything under old business?
No, I think I shared an email, which is just a readout from the Community Development Commission meeting in December. And I think that they're, just to flag up that they're looking to come to probably a workshop and.
Maybe after one of the university meetings.
Yeah, exactly, yeah. So, and I think, Lori's chair of that group, so she's definitely looking to do it after. So probably like February, March time with the kind of, annual report, and then also looking for kind of approval and oversight on some of the priorities for the coming year, which I think will be helpful, give them a bit of input from this group.
Very good. Anything else?
So I spoke to Anita the other day about the upcoming election. Did anything happen since?
No, and Katie and I discussed this today too.
Yeah,
Nobody's brought in a.
But you do have time until the when?
There's 6 more weeks, but no one's even shown any
But you don't
interest in
have
question.
to come to you.
They don't. So if somebody's very proactive, they could go to the
But you
website.
we would have heard about it.
I would think so too.
Laura,
I think so.
We've had people in the past.
We have.
say, well,
I don't think it's been publicized enough, perhaps. People aren't aware. I said to Anita, the worst thing can happen is that we end up writing candidates.
The one vote and you're in.
Yeah.
Don't put that part in the paper. Give people ideas.
Terrible. I mean, does anyone know anyone we can talk into this?
So isn't the news that there's going to
Thank you,
be
Katie, for.
two
saying that.
vacancies? There's gonna be 2 vacancies, And one is Peter, and he's termed out, so he's not running by choice, he's not running because he can't. And then we have the position that was created when Jason Leon left office that's been filled by appointment by Katie. And are you running? She's running. So I think that's the news story, but so that anybody with an interest should follow the election law and get their petitions signed.
And when are the dates?
Today is the first day you can get signatures.
For independent.
Right.
For independent.
When's the last day?
I
The
believe,
14th.
yeah, February 14th. They have 6 weeks.
And at this point, a party nomination is
I
off
think
the
it
table
is.
for Democrats can caucus, right?
No, it's over.
I think it's all over.
Yeah, so it's just in there at this point.
So the Democrats didn't caucus.
Guess not.
And Katie just needs 50 signatures?
It is. Okay.
Well, anybody else needs how many?
50.
50, yeah.
Yeah, it's just
So you made it sound like.
Oh.
Yeah.
I didn't mean it that way.
And it could be Democrats or Republicans, since she's not running as either. Anybody, any registered voter who lives in the village can sign for you.
And they can't use the excuse, I signed somebody's petition already.
Right.
Yeah, and actually, they could even sign 2 people, they just can't sign 3 people, because we have 2 open positions.
Anything else under old business? Nothing under mayor items, any commissioner reports?
No, we got one done.
We're not having an LPBA meeting this month because of the games, and our next one is gonna be an evening meeting, paint and sip at the new paint and sip place. which is
Really?
Cool.
That looks great.
A few things that we came up with the department head meeting today. The new water plant, remember there was an air dam or air handling problem? They fixed that. It's running now. The full SCADA system's running both filters. Brad says the plant's running really good. The water is really great. He said he doesn't know, there'll be a possibility in some areas they'll be able to reduce the amount of chlorine that is put into the water. Obviously, that's a really good thing.
Well, they have to test at the end of the line.
Yeah, so he says that's a possibility. And where we've never had a problem with our turbidity, we have a limit we don't even like to get close to. And with the new filters now, he thinks that's going to get even easier. But it's at 0.03 that we have to abide by. And he says with this new one, we should be at 0.006. So it sounded really good. And the website also came up. I guess you guys could probably speak to this, but it sounded like they had hoped by now. There's a little bit of a delay, so now we're kind of saying the end of January, but it could be sooner. And I did mention to you, I guess there's some issue with the domain name of it, and we better just make sure that it doesn't affect all our village ones.
Yeah, no, Scott was brought in on it, and Patrick will work on it. Haley, and with the new website people and with the old website people, because I think everybody has to be involved, and possibly for the town too, which isn't theoretically our problem, but we're joining with them on a website. We don't want them to
Sure.
lose their emails either, so.
Okay.
Yeah, so I think Patrick's gonna help spearhead that because he understands it better than myself or Haley or Jackie.
But just to let you know, that's close. And the other thing is the cameras are up and running as of yesterday. I'm guessing it's been fairly recently.
The other side was 2 weeks ago, this side's just now.
Mayor Mark Pratt was very instrumental in all that, did a great job.
And it goes into PD, I still never got that.
It goes to the fire department and the police department.
Okay, simultaneously.
That's right.
And there's quite a policy
Right.
on this, so I hope it's been distributed to anybody who was ever going to see these videos, and they've all been schooled in it.
You make sure that happens.
That's Chuck.
I think, I'm assuming Chuck got it to
And
his.
then the
Right,
fire
but I
department
hope-
doesn't say it's only him.
And I hope he's.
Is that state rules?
No, yeah,
Cameras?
there's a whole
You remote
bunch of
access
rules,
them.
yeah.
Oh, the cameras are everywhere.
Policy about, this is all big privacy stuff.
Yeah, I understand. but
Yes,
you said disseminate it.
well, Chuck,
Has-
there's a policy that's been passed, and Chuck has it, and it's gotta be, I hope he's hammering it home to his people. The question was whether it's a police department policy, whether the board should adopt it too. And I don't,
We'll take your best
I'll have
discretion.
to talk to Chuck about it.
Things that are being worked out now is making sure cameras don't point at residences, things like that. And it isn't that these cameras are open access for the public, these are for the fire and police. I mean, anyone that's been involved, if something happens on Main Street, they're going around to private people trying to find cameras and footage, and now we'll have that. And that's really the
So
extent.
like Chuck doesn't have access by his cell phone. Is that what you're saying?
I don't believe at this point, but I think at some point we might be working towards,
Then you're getting into the,
well, as long as it's someone who's got permission, but I think you are. I think right now, from what I heard from Justin Roy was, if they're heading out with a call from the dispatch center, they might look up at the camera and see what's going on on Main Street, see if there's congestion, to see if they should loop them in from the back side or the front side. At this point, that's what the live action will be for. And
but that's
some-
closer to the system. Once you're got it on the phone, the world knows about it.
Right.
You can hack it.
If you get hacked in, yeah. I mean, at this point, it's something that will be in the police and the fire, but in the future, we'll see if we end up having it in the cars.
We should put it on the rail channel.
There's a camera pointing there.
Yeah, that's true.
I think it's
I would say the
pointing at you.
Probably.
And also, if you remember, we talked about this, for those who've been on the board a long time, but doing it wirelessly, and we didn't go for it just for the fact of the resolution. And from what I've heard, the resolution on this is just crystal.
And Chuck said the two cameras that are on fiber, that are wireless, there's one pointing out to the lake and another one in Bids Park. And he said it's like night and day difference between the ones that are hardwired and wireless ones. So
Fiber optics makes the difference. That's all I have.
The next meeting's the 23rd.
Oh. I mean, just to verify.
Yes, because we moved it by 1 week.
Katie and I have met once, and I had to leave, unfortunately, in talking to Mindy about the technical coordinator's position. And I just want to bring something up. I had a conversation with Kimball, and I think, and I could be wrong, but I think rightfully so, Mindy is concerned that we are taking his salary and dividing it among the departments, but he's concentrated in one department, right? Well, then why don't we just take that position and put it all to the department that he's working at? Because I'm hearing that to replace, Patrick is probably doing, I don't know, 70% of electric department work. And I think they might be hard pressed to replace this or replace the workload or find somebody. So if that is a legitimate concern that other departments are being expensed this payroll, why don't we just take the position? And that was just a thought I had.
Do we have another way to get, because I think part of the objective is that the skill set and kind of increasing that
Well-
analytic capability across other departments is definitely desirable.
It is.
So is there another way to do that?
But we also talked about how sharing does not work. It just doesn't work. And is that fiscally responsible? You know?
We do have a 6-month probation period on this. I mean, what the job, that's what I was told. Does that change?
I think
He's been
that,
on the job longer than that.
No.
This is-
Like
It's
the revised
training.
position.
So,
See, we get a pay bump.
Because the whole idea here was that we wanted him to go to other departments and
Right.
focus at the electric, and that's why we did what we did. And that was where we had the 6-month probation to see how we did
but
that.
I think part of the conversation and the challenge is that, I think, Kimball has like a clear vision for using his time and talents. I
Well,
think
he
that-
was given the option of staying down there or going across the board, and he chose the village, so I haven't had it.
well, he did, but let me just tell you, we gotta, right, we asked that question. So is he wanted, I don't think we can discuss this.
So I think,
Okay.
no.
Hey, we have
You know how far you were going.
Yeah.
I was going to stop and I was like, I'm looking at you.
But I think we can say, like, I think some of the
I think
opportunity
things.
here is to help help other departments
Yes, Katie,
understand what.
I think what he thinks is gonna happen and what in reality we want to happen.
Well, I think that's something, as soon as we have Mindy back, we need
Yeah.
to hammer down.
Yeah.
A lot of the problems, they don't communicate. That's so much of the problem.
Who doesn't communicate?
Mindy and Kimball,
Well, they do.
not about this subject.
Well, I think one of the ideas was when all the new infrastructure went in on the Main Street project, the water lines, the sewer lines, the storm sewers, the wiretaps, those were all supposed to be GIS mapped. At one point,
Everything's GIS now.
Yeah.
Is it?
Oh, yeah.
and
Yeah.
it just, who's in charge of that? Who has it?
So
Patrick.
Patrick has it, and
One
apparently
of the
the
water
data.
department guys, he was there with
Yeah.
our equipment. So Kubicki did theirs and we did ours.
Okay, so.
But we didn't
There's-
do,
there's
according
redundancy.
to Mindy, we didn't do, the water department wanted to handle it pretty much by themselves. So I don't know if Patrick had that much work to do because they didn't want all that information. They just wanted, just tell me where the water line is, whereas, Patrick could give them more information. They're like, no, we don't want that.
Yeah, so I think that there's,
Well, he could do layers. I mean, he could put in layers.
He could, but
And
the
then
water
there's-
department didn't want it. They were like, we don't, I mean.
The information is there. Maybe in the way that Brad wants it.
But going back to, I think there's,
Well, that's a discussion for another time.
yes. That's all I got.
Very good.
Asking when the.
Well, that's usually going to be off the board.
Parking passes, Main Street parking passes, and people are asking me all the time.
Oh, are
I haven't gotten it.
I heard they're supposed to be in the mailbox this week.
Oh,
So
really?
I was told by one of my employees.
Mailed.
They were mailed, but they're supposed to be hitting people's mailboxes this week. Yeah.
You need
You won't
truck
be able to
contact.
get out of your driveway.
I'm
Yeah, it went away.
Oh,
Parkside Drive.
did you get a new phone?
Well,
Really?
Well, because the only way to.
I was gonna say, that's
get
a
out
couple
is
months.
It was Kim's old-
Drive.
Boy, you had that
Everybody
thing, that,
gets
oh,
it.
what happened to all of you?
Yeah,
I used
so
to
lots of
think-
people who are gonna go around the lake.
When, Roost is having another, are you texting him too?
I'm gonna send Chuck's contact here. It's gonna say everyone will get in there. So,
Okay,
This is
so
having an information.
Yes, Roost is having an information session on the 5th.
Sorry.
Parking and LP, and it's at the town hall.
Yes, downstairs, first floor.
And it's also
Nonsense.
online.
Yes.
does anyone have any questions?
Does anybody know about it?
No.
Yeah, I put it on our Facebook page.
I'm asking about, no, from our people here, does anyone have any questions of the board tonight? Lauren?
Yeah,
Thanks, Mark.
I was wondering, Mark, if you'd be willing to see any reasons that you had for opposing the STR law.
I mean, really, it was just that one part about having restrictions on the commercial corridors. I just, from the beginning, I think it's really hard to own a building on Main Street and have restrictions put on you. And if somebody wants to buy and refurbish a building on Main Street or the other corridors that we're allowing, we were allowing unrestricted access, I think it's unfair to put that burden on them.
And will the local law go into effect immediately upon filing with the Secretary of State, or are you guys?
Yes.
Which
Yes.
we're thinking Thursday, right on that?
Well, I think Mike's department is ready as of Monday to be taking applications.
But it becomes a law on Thursday, is that what we were hearing?
Well, I won't be here tomorrow, so the state won't get ours until Friday, but I mean, I think
Okay.
Mike, nobody should contact Mike on Thursday. Monday is when that
Oh,
department
23 is gonna come
is going to be ready to take applications.
Okay.
You know what?
The parking passes.
Handing them out.
Yeah.
Sorry about that.
We are not handing them out. LP 23 is mailing them.
Yes.
I thought they said by the end of the week.
Sorry about that, Lauren. Did you get an answer to that? Or-
Yeah, so my understanding, right, that with the filing of the local law, that the moratorium on.
Well, it's terminated.
And what's the end of Billy Walton's term?
Oh, he's December 31st, it's probably over. Well,
No,
no,
but how many years,
Oh.
but he was appointed for, I don't know that.
I don't know about it.
He was probably appointed for, you'd have to ask Mike or Darcy
Okay.
or Britt, they would probably know.
The only other thing I was wondering is, I just kind of wanted to get the board's perspective on something concerning the games, because from an outside perspective, it seems like there are just a lot of elements of the games that have yet to be finalized, from insurance to road closures, event logistics. I was wondering if that was accurate from the board's perspective.
I think it's very accurate to say the final details of this are being hammered out, yes.
Okay. Did you guys anticipate this many loose ends a week ahead of the games, or?
You know, I was around for the 1980 Olympics, but I wasn't really close to it. But I mean, this is a big undertaking where you haven't done it before. There's a lot of moving parts. There's a lot of things that by the time you're done, you'll have a lot of experience in. It's a huge undertaking. I think they're doing as well as they can. And it's just my opinion, you know, if I speak for the board or not.
Big learning curve for LP23. They did it again, it'd be much easier. This isn't something that happens very often, this kind of event. So many parts to it. Like, we're dealing with housing, of course, and the number of people that come and go, and you have to redo your room blocks, and it's
Not to mention it was all supposed to be part of it.
it's not easy by any means, trying to manage all that. I mean, from the LP23 point of view, it's Lori Fitzgerald, God bless her.
And you got the worker shortage, supply chain shortage. It's been a challenge. I mean, last Luzerne that was going to hold them wasn't even able to hold them. So, let's pray that nothing rears up in the next week. But
You mean because of the pandemic? Okay, thank you.
COVID's on the rise big time. Yes.
let's hope it waits.
Oh, it's already.
Let's hope it waits. Anything, you're all set? Did you have any questions of us?
Nope.
Okay. Motion to adjourn? Oh.
Hey, I've got a question.
Okay, sorry, I didn't see you there.
Oh, that's all right. How's everyone doing today?
Good. Good.
Sure. This is Jim Hughes. I'm calling, asking about the letter that I sent to you, Art, back in November. Where do we sit on that, on the ADA violations?
That's all has been given to Janet.
I don't have any ADAs.
Yeah,
We've talked about it, making a policy and a grievance. I have a memo from Ivan that I got last week, and I will review, Jim, with the thought that it'll be a response to you with some information that hopefully you'll find acceptable. But the board does have to move forward in appointing an ADA compliance officer and coming up with a grievance procedure, which you brought to our attention that we are lacking.
Okay, yeah, well, my greater point is in the letter that I wrote to Mayor Devlin and copied the board, is that I guess you addressed it slightly with your engineer. He's going
Yes.
to be providing a letter.
I think, Mr. Hughes, that the letter may come from Ivan, or it may come from me. He wrote a memo that I have not had an opportunity to review. It's a confidential memo because it just came in last week and I was tied up. But it has some thoughts for getting back on track with your questions and your situation.
Yeah, we have to put a closure date of 60 days from when I wrote the initial letter, thus far, I've filed a complaint with the US DOJ. I did that back in December, as I told you all, but part of this grievance process and the procedure, the grievance procedure is that we go through this, we try to figure this stuff out, and then typically it's done on a 60-day duration. And after 60 days, if we can't figure this out, then we're going to have to file something with the state of New York, with the Attorney General's office, and the county, so to get this all resolved. So that's kind of the procedure, because you don't have a procedure, a grievance procedure. So I'm using grievance procedures from that mimic other state agencies within the state of New York and common practice with DOJ standards.
Thank you.
All right. All right. I'm looking forward to hearing this this resolution, because ADA, there's nothing in Title II that says that, we kick the can down the road here. We have to address these issues, and they typically need to be addressed within 15 days. And then if there's nothing done within 60 days, then we have to take additional steps. And as you know, with ADA, and along with basically all the materials that were left and the positioning of the work in place now is on our property, and that's actually a taking. So that's a Fifth Amendment violation as well. So we have I'd like to resolve this as opposed to waiting 60 days and taking other steps.
We would too.
All right, that's the only questions that I have.
Andy, did you have any questions?
Nope, I'm all set.
Okay, thank you very much.
Thanks.
There's nothing else to come before the board. We would do a volunteer firemen's meeting at 7 if anyone wants to come with me. You're more than welcome. I would accept a motion to adjourn. So move.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Thank everyone for their time.
You.